Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Promptly Speaking, an IBPAP Official Podcast, where we bring you the movers and shakers of the business world and their journey to success. I'm your host, Jack Madrid, and today our special guest is Michael McCullough, founder and chairman of the KMC Group. Let's welcome Mike to the show. Mike, great to have you here. Thanks for taking time out.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for hosting me here.
You know, you need very little introduction, but I think our audience would love to find out what your PH story is. How did you get to the Philippines, Mike?
Back in 2006, I was working for a software development company in Palo Alto. And we were doing the initial research on Costa Rica versus the Philippines. And everything we looked at, it was really kind of a 50-50 tie. And what took us over the line was we met another guy who had a development team of 30 guys in the Philippines and said, there's great devs there. Come over here and I'll help you out. And they sent me out here January 1st, 2007 to a hungover Philippines. I got here on New Year's morning and hired our first team of 3 and grew that development team. Very senior devs, making $3,000 to $5,000 US a month in 2007. That's a pretty good amount of money. Grew that to about 15. A year later, they wanted me to go back to San Francisco, and I had fallen in love with the Philippines.
That was 17 years ago.
That was 17 years ago.
And there has been no looking back ever since, I guess.
I'm glad I didn't go back. This has been a very important part of my story, and it's been a great 17 years.
Well, I know you married a Filipina.
I did.
And so I guess, again, our listeners would love to hear about how has living here and marrying into a Filipino family, how has that kind of worked out for you?
So we were kind of doing country swaps. She went to the U.S. My girlfriend, well, the one I married, my wife, Isa, was living in the U.S. She was in L.A., got her master's from UCLA, and she was very happy there, didn't want to go back. I was in the Philippines, very happy here, didn't want to go back. We ended up meeting at a colleague's birthday party and stated over kind of the next year. I would go to LA. She'd sometimes come here to see her family. And between myself and her family, convinced her to move back.
So you met in what year?
We met in 2008. Yeah.
She's watching this, so you better get these dates right.
Yeah. It's Feb 2008, 2009. Pretty sure. Yeah, okay, Feb 2009. Let's stick with that.
Okay, so a 2-year courtship, more or less.
We got married in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. So engaged in 2011, married. Something
so
like that.
So that kind of makes you Filipino. How has that been?
I have been adopted. The Philippines has actually really adopted me, and I've adopted the Philippines as my home country, my home base. If I could live anywhere, it actually is the Philippines. I do like to spend time outside of the Philippines, but no, this has been great. I think the family culture has been very, it's a very warm culture here, very friendly. And that's kind of how I was raised. Small town in Oregon, family meals every night. And so it's somewhat similar in that sense.
Well, you've certainly adapted very well.
Thank you.
And we'll talk about KMC in a little while. But before we go there, on a more personal note, I know you're a very busy guy. How do you actually unwind, Mike, after a long day of work? And how do you integrate work into your daily life?
Yeah, the work-life balance is a great question. First of all, what I kind of do, what I like doing in my time off is I do spend some time in the gym. I work out with a trainer, an Israeli trainer. He works with me very hard. His job is actually to keep me to a schedule and make sure I show up to the gym. Showing up is half the battle. And then he makes it fun. So that, that's really important. And I think that's really good for overall stress management. Like Jeff Bezos says, I don't need to make 100 decisions, but I need to make 3 really important decisions a day. And exercising helps you de-stress from some of these tougher decisions.
And you do that as you begin your day?
Evenings. So I used to do it in the mornings. And I found out that I actually get a better workout in the evenings than,
Okay.
So I switched my schedule.
You've been doing that for a long time now?
For a long time now. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Still on the Philippines.
Sure.
Do you actually know any Filipino words?
Oh, siempre. Was that
else?
okay?
That's an important one.
Yeah, sure. I think I probably have most of the nouns down, baso, mesa. Those are somewhat Spanish too, but I think I probably have most of the nouns, most of the food, and some of the joke lingo. I know some of those.
Okay,
too. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And you probably understand a fair bit.
I probably understand
as well.
10%.
So we can't
I
speak
think I probably
Tagalog in
understand.
front of you.
I think I probably understand 10+%. But everyone speaks in Taglish around here. So it's pretty easy to keep up.
So moving on to KMC.
Sure.
As a co-founder of the company, how would you describe the inspiration behind, the company's inception? And importantly, and I've observed this over the years, how have you achieved that agility, in evolving KMC's business model, over this time?
Yeah, so the inception was, we started as kind of Kittleson and Carpo Consulting, and we were incorporating companies that want to be in the Philippines. And it's kind of a lengthy process. The government has not made that very easy. 17 years later, has not become much easier by all the kind of international rankings. But Kittleson Carpo, now called Incorp, they were doing their best to make doing business and incorporating a business in the Philippines easy. After incorporation, the first thing you need is an office. And that's where I came in. And so I would bring them to mostly fully fitted spaces, because this was kind of the global financial crisis when some companies gave back office space. So we'd put them into something that was already ready. And that became a division. And we spun that division off. And so Kittleson, McCullough, and Carpo, KMC.
So that was the beginning, and then every few years or so, something happens and it catalyzes a change.
Yeah, we always listen to our customers. I mean, we didn't have a lot, and if they wanted us to do something else, how do you get more revenue from the same customer? Hey, can you build our office? Can you hire our staff? Can you do our payroll? Can you do X, Y, or Z? Set up our networks. We would eventually figure out a way to do it and turn it into a product or service.
So thanks for explaining KMC, Kittleson, McCullough,
and Carpo.
Carpo.
Yes.
Are the three of you still working together?
We are married. Yes, we are still together. We still have a chat group. Gets heated, gets a little spicy sometimes, but we're very much in alignment with giving the best value and service to our customers.
However, Mike, you seem to be the most visible of the three in the past few years. Is that for a reason?
That's probably a fair statement. We have Amanda Carpo, which is a Philippine attorney, and she is married to an American, and they split their time between Chicago and the Philippines, and she still runs Incorp, which is the incorporation business. So she has a full-time job with about a 200-person team there, but she provides a lot of value on the keeping us out of jail. Let's put it that way. She likes to say no to everything Greg and I like to say yes to. So keeps us. It's a good yin and yang. Let me put it that way. Greg, on the other hand, has been in the Philippines 18 years. During COVID, the lockdowns being quite strict, especially for a single male in a condo, he couldn't handle it. He fully moved to Madrid in June of 2020, and he kind of operates a East Coast America sales team and some European biz dev for us. And he still is very active with our design team.
And is he also bringing European business to?
Yeah, it's not.
Manila?
I mean, the European business is small for us. It's East Coast. So he spends a lot of time in Miami during the winters. And so he's up and down kind of between New York, Boston, Charlotte, and Miami.
Okay.
So he manages and meets all of our clients kind of on the East Coast.
Mike, I'm sure our listeners would like to find out from you, what have been some of the toughest challenges you faced in building and scaling KMC, and for the difficult times, I'm sure there were a few. How did you surmount them?
Yeah, I mean, scaling, I remember growing almost 100% year over year for a couple of years. And our business is quite capital intensive. We are taking concrete shells of an office and adding all the most expensive things into it, including data centers and workstations and computers and servers and switches. That requires a lot of capital. And I happen to have a very good kind of CFO at the time, Tracy Ignacio. She's still with us, but in another role. And she was managing it down to the last centavo sometimes. We were really growing because our clients were growing, and we didn't want to miss up those opportunities. So those were some challenges. We decided to raise money in late 2018 because the growth was more than we could handle from our personal friends and family investors, and brought in a Singaporean fund, which is basically Mitsubishi Corp and CIMB Bank, called AIGF.
And they are major partners.
Yeah, they're major partners of ours. They came in March 2019 with a boatload of cash, which helped us to continue to expand our office portfolio. And then a year later, COVID happened. We didn't spend all of it. And that was very reassuring to have some extra millions in the bank while riding out COVID.
So basically, your model is leasing premium spaces, whole floors.
Whole floors, yes. So we would take multiple floors. Given our background in real estate and in real estate transactions and advisory and site selection, we know what's going to lease before anyone else does, and we lock in long-term rates maybe before the building's even built or before they even break ground. So we will pay a deposit, sign a lease for something that may come online 2 or 3 years later.
Have you also purchased some?
We are not allowed to own real estate under this fund. It's Mitsubishi Corp. It's not Mitsubishi Realty.
Oh, I see. So it's 100% lease.
It's 100% leasehold.
And you've begun
partnerships and JVs
expanding too outside Manila.
That's correct. Yeah, our best performing locations were outside of Metro Manila during COVID. They were all 100% occupancy.
Can you name a few cities?
Clark did extremely well, and we're about to launch an additional site in Clark called the Sky Club in end of May. That's May 30th of 2024. Alabang, which is Metro Manila, but kind of a fringe location, and our Cebu sites had the highest foot traffic throughout COVID.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with the project you have with Philinvest, and very nice space.
Yeah, that's right. We were there last month. Yeah.
Is that something you're going to continue elsewhere?
We have a partnership with Philinvest. It really helps working with a developer that has a nationwide portfolio plus more money than us. And I think we're very aligned with what we want to do. We want to create a great flex space that allows clients to slowly move in and ramp up and grow their footprint with the Philinvest in their great locations.
Okay, I'm going to flip back now, Mike.
Yes.
Back to something a little less about work.
Sure.
What do you do when you're not working?
Well, I'm always selling the Philippines. So this last week, we were with some French friends that we had met in the south of France, and we convinced them. I didn't realize we did, but we convinced them to come to the Philippines versus another country. It's between their breaks. So they work during the summers and then they work somewhere else in the winters. And this is their time off. And they decided to come to the Philippines and give it a shot. And they had a great time. The Philippines is kind of under the radar internationally. Like 5.7 million tourists only. That's
versus like 40 million in
Bali's
Bangkok.
25 million,
Yeah.
Bangkok's 40 million. You know, they all have better, foreign tourist arrival numbers than we do. So we're constantly selling the Philippines. We're telling people the water's warm, the people are friendly, it's safe. They were shocked. They were shocked at how friendly and safe every place they went to was. El Nido, Boracay, Siargao.
I'm surprised, despite the fact that we're in 2024, we're still not quite fully on everyone's radar. So
We need a film, and this is actually a side project that I'm working on that will sell the Philippines as an international tourism destination. We need our beach, the beach. Remember?
So you're working on a film about the Philippines, promoting the Philippines.
I am helping on the monetary side with the Oscar-winning, Academy Award-winning executive producer.
Well, thank you for that, as well as being such a good ambassador.
I'm trying. I do my best.
To the film. I do see it on all your social media channels. I mean, KMC is quite visible. You know, I see your billboard on
Thank
the flyover there. I see your mini billboards on Buendia.
Yes.
I see all of that. So thank you for promoting.
You don't see our
industry as
international
well.
advertising, unfortunately, but we also advertise internationally as well. We just sponsored a booth at the F1 in Australia, in Melbourne.
Wow.
And we were fortunate to have people just walk past it and be like, oh, what does KMC do? And we tell them that we build teams in the Philippines for Australian companies, and this is perfect. This is what we need. So
What percentage of your business, Mike, is IT BPM? Roughly.
well, it's 95% of our business. Yeah, it's a big market for us. Yeah.
Well, so it's good. Good to hear that.
Yes.
And again, I guess while we're on that topic, how do you see the next few years? If you could look at your crystal ball.
There are no crystal balls, but I do believe I think the Philippines is in a very interesting spot. We can provide a lot of value. I think AI will not disrupt us, but will turn us all into superhuman. I think it's a tool. Right now, I think it'll be a very helpful tool to bring up our bottom 20% and make them on par with any worker internationally, which is great.
Actually, IBPAP is very much aligned with that thinking. We do believe that for the most part, generative AI will augment jobs.
I agree.
More than displace.
Yeah.
We need to, just sharpen some of our skill sets, both domain and some, qualitative skills. But leveraging on, the renowned Filipino advantage, we should make it through and even thrive.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
How would you describe, the KMC group?
Yeah.
Overall, is adapting to AI. I know it's early years, but
So that's really, that's actually my day job. Really is managers are like tugboats. They pull boats through the water. Leaders are like lighthouses, and they're looking out for what is happening out there. And Amanda has actually just taken a course on AI. She wrote a thesis to the CEO/chairman, which is me, and I got through it. And we are actively working on a tool that will help on the funneling of candidates.
so
using AI
recruitment of staff.
AI for recruitment. Where I think is actually really powerful is for the near hires. Hey, you didn't make it for this selection, but you were lacking in these 3 skills. But here's a course on these 3 skills. Come back to us once you've passed it. Because my job is actually get people employed, but they have to have the right skill sets. So if I can actually help bring up the near hires and get them hired, all the better.
That's really interesting. May I ask what those top 3 skills gaps are so far?
So a lot of it is like reading comprehension, just and analytic capabilities. Those are some tougher ones. Also, some of the programming. We have some very good programmers. We also have schools churning out programmers for like 20-year-old software. So that is unfortunate. The school system has not caught up to today's software requirements. But again, I became a developer, but I'm a self-taught developer. So I truly believe that there's so much resources out there for free that you can take anyone with passion and they can learn coding and become a top developer.
Yeah, I always like to say, that there's never been a more urgent time to take this whole right skilling more urgently.
I agree.
And just take it on as a personal responsibility.
So, again, the only thing I can do is tell my own staff that all of you, we have an AI course for you. And whoever doesn't take the course within this year probably won't be working with us any longer. Because I don't think it's going to replace jobs, but someone who knows AI versus someone who doesn't know AI, they will get replaced. It's that simple. And I've told that to every single person I work with. I said, AI is not going to come for your job. It's the younger kid who knows AI that's coming for your job.
Indeed.
It's as simple as that.
And it's not even about building AI, right? It's really about knowing how to use the tools.
Yeah. The tools, there's so many free tools that are out there. Yeah.
And I agree.
We don't need
to
know how to program AI. We need to know how to talk to it and ask it and create
and it'll make us better.
The prompts. It makes us more efficient.
Let's switch gears a bit, Mike, and look back. I mean, you're a young guy, but you're well into your career, I would say. Can you share with us a particularly cool achievement in your young career that you're specifically proud of?
There's probably 2 moments. And I got the Asia CEO Award for Young Leader when I used to be young. And then I got the Expat CEO of the Year award in, maybe 2021? It was like a virtual Asia CEO Awards. And nobody told me to watch. Nobody reached out to me. I had zero idea. And someone was like, "Hey,
you didn't even know you were nominated?"
I knew I was nominated, but the other nominees were, running Accenture and big, huge companies, and I happened to win that. So thank you to the judges. We didn't buy a table. There was no table. It was some virtual event, and I got that. So
well. I didn't know that, Mike, but congratulations.
Thank you.
And maybe you'll win again.
Let's see. I really want my executive team to win because it's really them more than it is me.
Talking about your team, how do you, as co-founder, build this culture of innovation and collaboration within KMC? And, on the external front, I know you're good at this, but what is your style of managing customer relationships? So there's 2 questions.
Well, there's 2 questions. Yeah. Let's go to the innovation one. I constantly tell the team it's okay to fail. Let's try stuff. I want to innovate. I want to try stuff. It doesn't always work. And it's okay. Whether it's $500,000 pesos, $1 million pesos, like it doesn't matter that we tried something and it didn't work. But it matters that we try something. And I hope if I can't say that, enough time to the team, that they clearly know that it's okay to fail. But we got to try new stuff. You got to try.
So experiment.
Yeah.
And if you stumble, make a mistake, learn from that mistake.
Yeah, 100%. It's we've made tons of mistakes. I've been involved in many businesses that never got off the ground, or were fun but hard to scale, and we rarely talk about those. They're not on my resume either, not on my LinkedIn profile, but they were all great places to learn. And so I think it's really about learning from your failures. It's fail 1,000 times and then succeed. And I don't want to just say, hey, this is what works and scale it. Because you see that kind of in the Philippines with like developments even. Like they're still developing the same condo from 20 or 25 years ago. They have never once innovated on what a condo could be. So we don't want that to be us.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that you seem to have this agility and adapt because your business model has changed a number of times.
Sure, and yeah, we don't want to be a cookie cutter and just do cookie cutter things. So for the innovation part, that's one of them. Your second question was
customer management, customer relationships. Yeah,
probably one of the KPIs for me is spending more time with customers. And that used to be it was just a very small team. It was Greg, Amanda, myself, the KMC crew. And I had a lot of time with customers and they would say, this is the pain point, this is the headache. And I would eventually figure out, how to insert ourselves and add value and take away those headaches. Now I'm kind of in my, up in my castle in the corner office and I'm getting back into more time with customers. Because they also, they have fears about their own jobs, fears about what can happen to their company, how AI is going to disrupt them, what systems and tools are we using internally? Can they piggyback off them? What can they learn from us? So spending a lot more time with our customers is, I think, good for both of us.
Have customer expectations changed over the past decade or so?
I think
higher,
yes.
More demanding.
We fulfill a part of the real estate need and facilities management, internet, real estate, and we do that very, very well, better than most companies can do it themselves. Right? That's what we focus on. That's our core competencies. There's other challenges. Real estate's less of a challenge now. If people are working from home, BCP systems, I'll just take your laptop and work from home. There's newer challenges, data security, privacy, just so many other, like even just assets. Like the assets are walking out the door now every day. Like $1,000 laptop is going to someone's house every day. And when they quit, do they ever get those back?
That's been an issue.
It's an issue. It's probably an industry issue. And it's something that we work with our customers on. And it's as simple as we send somebody out to the local barangay and tell him, one of our employees is here and they have a device with information and data on it. And, can we remote wipe it? Yes, but that's a industry challenge.
Yeah. As an industry, we've seen the rise of, I guess you can consider that part of cyber crime, yes. Right?
Yes.
So that's been on the rise.
It's a very low percentage, but it's something we look out for.
And affects the image, right?
And again, I don't think that's
Philippines.
Unique. I don't think that's unique to the Philippines. I think there's a lot of Americans that are given a brand new laptop and probably don't return those either.
Mike, let's have some fun now.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Don't think too much. Just say the first thing that pops into your mind. Okay? Let's start. What was the most daring thing you've ever done?
I've had balut a few times. So
that's pretty daring.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that annoys Mike McCullough?
I'm not loving traffic, but that hasn't gone away. So, I make the best of it.
Favorite beverage?
I like the scented or flavored sparkling water. I hope that's not too fancy.
I figured wine, but
yeah. I stopped drinking this year, so I'm not your best customer.
You.
Yeah.
If you were to be reborn, what or who would you be?
That's a good question. Maybe I could be born as a whale because I love the ocean. I love scuba diving.
The Oregon coast.
The colder Oregon coast. Yeah, we have whale watching, and then they eat in Mexico and then go back up to Alaska.
What do you think is the worst cliche?
I think the perception of the Philippines internationally. We get perceived as either maids or nurses.
Yeah, that's irritating.
Yeah. And we're so much more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you consider your safe space?
The gym is a great safe space, or the sauna. No gadgets. Also scuba diving. Zero cell phones down there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I just dove a wreck, which was fantastic.
So how much do you sleep?
I try to get 8 hours or seven and a half.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's very important, sleep.
What's the one thing you splurge on?
Travel.
Family?
Yeah, I bring the whole crew.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever met people and forgot their names and what happened?
Yeah. I normally introduce them to my wife, and then
Oh, that's very smart.
yeah, it's a trick. Yeah.
I learned something. I'm
There
gonna
you go.
remember that one.
Or introduce them to one of my colleagues. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Okay, lastly, what's the best advice you've ever received?
I was given a book called The Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish when I was just starting out. So this would have been May 2009. We incorporated March 2009, and one of my clients said, "Look, you're scaling. Read this book." And we were right around 30 headcount internally, and it was a nightmare. Like I loved when we were 10. At 30, like I was like ready to quit. It was, and this book talks about the kind of pain points of growing. It's like your first 10, people are the most important hires you can make for your organization. At 30, you no longer get to spend the same amount of time with each team member. You have to put like some layers in between people, and it's very hard. And you have to change accounting systems.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 100 is like kind of the next
Mhm.
thing. And then it's like $1 million of revenue, 10 million revenue, 100 million revenue.
Rockefeller Habits.
The Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. And then he's come up with a new book called Scaling Up.
And you have scaled up 30. And what are you now? How many thousand are you?
So we are roughly 6,000.
Wow.
But we roughly 700 supporting 5,000 plus staff.
So, Mike, what advice would you give to the aspiring entrepreneurs who might be listening and are considering launching their own entrepreneurial ventures based on your experience with KMC?
Look, I think the Philippines is a great place to try a business and try an idea because you can fail cheaply. If you hired 10 people and it doesn't work out versus if you were to hire 10 Americans at whatever, $10,000, $15,000 a month, in a month, 150 grand is gone. 150 grand here could last a year. And it's going to take a while for you to figure out what that perfect product market fit is. At the same time, I had help and 3 meals a day that I never had to think about. So that was very, very convenient when you're working 16 hours a day. And I don't think most entrepreneurs get that same
That's interesting.
support.
So, as we wrap up, Mike, what is the road ahead for KMC? And how do you plan to continue driving that growth and continuing, your path to success?
So, a lot of our focus is on the employee experience, both internally for KMC internal employees and our clients' employees. We try to make the employee experience kind of everything that we focus on is around employee experience. So making work plus life better. We've opened up our first co-living space here on the edges of BGC because traffic, which we talked about earlier, is not going away, and having people work closer to an office takes away some of those hours in a car or Jeep or bus. We touched on before the interview, healthcare. How do we reduce healthcare costs? And that is by making a healthier population, which is a whole new challenge. And some of the things I want to eventually focus on is education and upskilling. And we kind of touched on that today. And I think that would broaden the labor pool for the Philippines.
Yeah, some really important lessons there, Mike. Listening to the voice of the employee has never been, more critical than. And then here we are. We're living in the future of work,
and they have a choice more so today than they ever had. And there's a lot of foreign companies that are hiring teams here by the hundreds without an office, without paying taxes and doing payroll. And many of these employees are working for these big global brands making top dollar. So, it's become a global labor force for the world. The Philippines has.
And in the end, it'll boil down to, a recurring theme in our conversation, Mike. It's really boils down to skills and talent.
Skills and talent. And they have the skills, they have the talent. Now we just make the quantity of that higher.
This has been a lot of fun, Mike. I've learned a lot from chatting with you, and I'm sure our audience has as well. So visit us here at IBPAP.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Jack. This has been fun.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Promptly Speaking. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
That's information technology and business process management. We are coders and programmers, agile animators, illustrators, auditors, analysts, from consultants to managers, nurturing nurses and doctors, data developers and testers, VA smiling CXRs and artificial intelligence engineers. Oh wait, there's more. We are problem solvers and number crunchers. We speak in several languages, including Java, Python, Python, and so on. And on and on and on. We create heroes and villains. We gain experience and level up in life.
We are the IT BPM industry, working with the Philippines. Join us.